all of the greatest video game music of all time, played by a symphony orchestra combined with lasers, lights, stage show production, and an interactive video game all going on.
They just walked out with this amazed look on their face. We're like, I can't believe how great that was.
It had that energy of a rock concert, but it also had more orchestral feel, which is what I'm used to. You know, it brings you into it. You're not just sitting there watching it happen, you're part of it, you know? That's where the magic comes in. You guys are going to need a bigger place next year.
But we created a show that the non-gamer can come to and get blown away, and that was really our goal from the beginning. And that's why we have synchronized video, and all of the lights are completely synchronized with the music, and you know, a festival environment with costume contests and Guitar Hero competitions and meet and greets with the composer. This is all free. Video games are fun, video games are exciting, video games are powerful.
I want to go!
Awesome. Awesome.
Right. Yes. So now, as I said before, I'll hand it over to Samit Agrawal, and he can kickstart from there.
Oh, it's working? Yeah, there we go. Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here. It has been a long ride since we first announced Video Games Live coming to Dubai. I think somewhere around 85 days ago, we started the countdown. I still remember being in my office and putting the big 85 on my chalkboard along with my staff and everybody. And telling them, we've got 85 days, we've got to work our way back now. Each day is going to be bigger and better. And I think we've reached somewhat of our target. We've got a huge audience base who's coming for the show. Everybody's thoroughly excited. The buzz around the city has been great. I mean, people are loving the idea of video games growing over here. And that initially was our initiative for this show, was not only to bring the #1 video game concert here, but to show how strong the Middle East is in the video game industry. And this is the first step that we're taking over here. By increasing the amount of demand towards this industry will also benefit the consumer, business, and professional market altogether, displaying the love and passion that we've all grown up on in this industry. What we've seen in our Facebook page has been absolutely miraculous. We launched our Facebook page somewhere around 55 days ago, and I'm happy to announce that we get over 100 likes a day from all over the Middle East, with people asking and giving their honest opinions about what they feel about the industry, where our next shows are going to be, how big are we, what are the songs they want to hear, and what's Tommy like, if anything. So the fans are really like out there trying to understand how the industry is going here. And I think one thing that we're really excited about having here is having the father of the video game industry, Nolan Bushnell here. I mean, the guy who founded Atari is just an unbelievable thing to see where it started out with and what it is today. And I think with that, let me introduce you to my special friends who have helped me understand and helped me grow in this industry. And I will start in the end and work my way down. The first friend of mine is Mr. Gerard Marino, who's well known as the award winner composer behind the amazing game that we love in Dubai called God of War. So that's him in the end. Next to him is the director of audio and composer for Blizzard, well known for his games such as World of Warcraft, StarCraft, and Diablo 3, Mr. Russell Brower. And no introduction is needed for this man, let alone the father of video games, the founder of Atari, Mr. Nolan Bushnell, and my close personal friend, the guy who I've been running around with, where it all started with, who can I talk to about bringing this show to Dubai? And he's like, there's this little guy in the end that you can talk to. And I'm just still going to say, my good friend over here, the CEO, executive producer, and host of Video Games Live, Mr. Tommy Tellerico, and I leave it to these gentlemen to talk about the show. Guys, you can go for it.
Yo, great to see you guys again. Was everybody here before for the last one? No, some new folks. I recognize some new faces. So yeah, this is my time back in Brazil. I came a couple months ago, and I was blown away. I mean, Dubai is a city of, it's got to be the biggest and the fastest or the tallest and and so what better place to launch the very first video game concert in the Middle East than Dubai. I'm just bummed that we didn't do the very first show ever here. I think that's 10 years ago. This should have been the launching pad, but we finally made it here, and yeah, I've been really blown away by the level of interest and passion that the people locally here, because when you go, I've taken this show all over the world for the last 10 years, and you never know, you don't, especially being, ignorant Americans, you don't know, what, I'm going to the Middle East, what's this? This is crazy, do they play video games out there? You don't know, right, until you've been out here. And to see it, to come out here and see the level of enthusiasm from the local people. But it's interesting, when I come to the Middle East, and I talk to the gamers, and I talk to press folks and people who are into gaming and things, there still seems to be, it's kind of like the way America was maybe about 10 years ago, where the people who play games, the people who are maybe like 40 and under, who like grew up on video games, or 45 and under, we get it. We understand, what games are all about, because we were kind of the first generation to grow up on. So the young people get it and understand it. But there seems to be in the Middle East that there's still this kind of like, oh, games are just for kids, right? They're just for nerds, right? They're just for geeks, And that's what we're going to help burst that, we're going to smash that mirror on Friday night. And, the reason I created Video Games Live is I wanted to prove to the world how culturally significant and artistic video games have become. So this show isn't just for hardcore gamers and things like that, but, some of the best emails and letters that we'll receive after a performance are from non-gamers, because gamers, we get it. We know how cool the music to Warcraft and God of War is, and we know how awesome Final Fantasy music is and Halo. But for people who don't know, or who maybe, the last time they played a video game is when they put their quarter in Nolan's first Pong machine back in 1972. Those are the ones who are most surprised. Like, wow, this music is significant. Wow, look at the art. Look at the graphics, the storylines, the characters. I get it now. Now I know why my kids are so much into video games, So those are the kinds of letters that we get. So we really do want to open it up to everyone, and that's why I created the show. And I hoped that, right now, for the last 2 months, really the only people in the Middle East, there's only one person in the entire Middle East who's ever saw our show, and he was sitting right here. So there's one voice in the entire Middle East. Well, come Friday, there's going to be 3,000 or 4,000 people who are now going to be spreading that word. So this is going to be the first of many. Video Games Live signed a 5-year deal with Cyclops. So, and we want to branch out. We're talking to a lot of different companies, not only here in the UAE, but India, Bangalore, Saudi, Qatar, Oman. I mean, so we're talking about really expanding. So this is going to be the first of many. But anyway, so that's enough. I gotta pass the mic though down the road here, because we're so honored to have with us, the person who's considered responsible for creating the whole video game industry. I mean, video games were around since the 50s and 60s, kind of like in little labs and colleges and universities and science labs and this. But this is really the man who said, you know what? I think we could bring this to the masses, you know, and so he was, you know, responsible for the very first commercial video game ever released, and then from there created Atari, and yeah, it was weird. We were doing a desert safari yesterday, and we're, you know, bouncing around in this whole thing, right? And it was fun. It was really great. And on the way back, we saw Chuck E. Cheese. Here's the guy who created Chuck E. Cheese, and we were like, "Did you know that there was a Chuck E. Cheese in Dubai?"
No.
You didn't even know. So yeah, he sold the company many years ago, but created this mass empire, and there we were, and we saw the Arabic writing. It was very cool. But anyway, please give a warm welcome to Nolan Bushnell.
Great fun here. And I believe that the Middle East is ready for the next transition. And the transition is from video game players to video game creators. And my mission is to try to bring people to the idea that they can become programmers and creators, bringing unique sensibilities. Every culture has a different way of viewing things, whether it be movies or books or poetry. The same thing goes with video games. And I believe that every time we encourage local creators, and today the entrepreneurship burdens and hurdles are so much lower that I would like to see what a truly unique and indigenous video game from UAE can be. And it might just go viral and be the #1 game in the world. And so if I can teach entrepreneurship and video game design and really have the population start to move in the direction of being part of the ecosystem of this wonderful industry that we've created, I will be a happy man. And so I want to encourage everybody who loves to play games to start designing them. And before you know it, you'll be a great programmer and have a career that you won't be able to tell the difference between work and play. And that's a good thing.
Well, never in my career aspirations did I think I would get to follow Nolan Bushnell. I'm honored to do so. Blizzard Entertainment is really proud to have been with Video Games Live since its inception, approximately 8 years ago or so. Our music was featured in the very first show at the Hollywood Bowl. And what excites me about this concert series and bringing it to a part of the world who hasn't experienced this sort of live celebration of video game music before is that this is a chance for us to show the world that this kind of music, this art form, has reached the status of timelessness. Anyone can create a great game and buy commercial time on a sports event and spend a lot of money and it's all over overnight and then you forget about it. But music stays with you. Music becomes the soundtrack of your life, whatever you were listening to or playing, whether it was popular music or, in the case of our wonderful audience, it's video games. So to have the opportunity to have our particular brand of storytelling and character development and the musical and audio soundscape become associated with our players' very lives. You know, World of Warcraft is a social game. It brings families together, people who have been separated across great distances, play together every week, and things they wouldn't have otherwise gotten to do and spend time together. And the music's always there. So it's very special to see families and young people coming back to the symphony together. As Tommy says, this just isn't like any old stuffy symphony. This is more like a rock concert, but with all that excitement. And I am especially touched when, again, I see the families at these events, and then at the meet and greets, often I have a parent or a young person come up to me and say, like, the parent might say, my child has decided to learn to play a musical instrument because of what they heard in the video games that y'all created, and it couldn't get any better than that for a composer. So on behalf of, I have an amazing team, about 40 people who create the music and sound for all the Blizzard games, and the 1,200 plus developers and all the support staff worldwide from Blizzard Entertainment. I just want to thank you for welcoming Blizzard into this historic concert, and we're so excited. This is history, and I'm very proud, so thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, hello folks. So, I'm very honored that you have all brought me here. I found out that I guess God of War is banned from sale in this area, and you're nice enough to bring me out even though you've never heard nor seen anything of the game. So I really appreciate the leap of faith.
We've played the game, and we love the game. Don't worry about that.
Well, okay. You're allowed to say that. Thanks, though. Thanks. I'm honored you brought me out. I mean, and I've always
I guess what I'm trying to say is, were you aware you were going to inspire video games to this extent, or that this small idea that having a small lab would end up being this massive industry that it is today?
You know, right from the start, I felt that video games were going to be very big. I don't think I ever put numbers to it to say, hey, it's going to be bigger than the movie industry. I don't think I ever thought that. But I felt that people have been playing games since they were living in caves. And games always morphed to match the technology available, whether it was printing presses or plastic or you know, there's a whole area of cast iron games, believe it or not. And I felt that the computer was the ideal game play, because not only could the computer be the presenter, but could be the scorekeeper and the timer and the opponent. And so I felt that it was going to tap into some kind of primal power, and that it was going to get really, really big.
We have a lot to thank you for then.
Yeah, we have a lot.
You know what the amazing thing is, if you think about it too, a lot of times the video game industry gets compared to film and this and that. And, you know, and we all as gamers here, we all think, you know, geez, you know, when are we going to be taken legitimately and this and that? And it's happening, and things like Video Games Live and other things are making it happen. But if you think about it too, you know, when film first came out in the 19-teens, right, in the 20s, when the older people first saw film, and they were black and white, and there was no sound, and there was no real acting or storyline or anything like that, they were just these flicky pictures. And all the older generation went, what the hell is this garbage? You know, vaudeville's where it's at. You know, this is just weird technology and it's crazy. It wasn't until 30, 40 years later when things like, you know, then the film industry got sound. Then it got color. Then it got real acting and real storylines. And it wasn't until things like The Wizard of Oz and Gone with the Wind in the, you know, the 50s and the 40s and 50s. So it took 20, 30 years to, and then the generation who then grew up on film, then, you know, it was a part of their culture growing up. Now, compare that to the video game industry. In 1972, when Nolan released Pong, it was black and white. It didn't have barely any sound. There was no acting or storyline or this and that. And the older generation went, what the hell is this garbage? You know, pinball's where it's at. And then we got sound, and then we got color, and then we got 3D, and then we got motion capture. And now we have storylines you'll see in games like Halo and Warcraft and Metal Gear Solid. Now we got storytelling involved and this and that. Now look at the timeline. 1972, 2012, right? 40 years later, exactly where the film industry was when they really started to go, where the Gone with the Winds came in, and the Wizard of Oz, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We're right in that sweet spot. Now the fun really begins.
Yeah. I got to add, for a long time, people said, why are kids wasting their time when they could be reading a good book or something like that? Well, it turns out that playing video games actually increases your IQ. And in the last 20 years, IQ of the people who are game players have increased as much as 15 points. And in certain tests of cognitive abilities, of problem solving, things like that, you know, off the charts better. So not only are video games fun, but they're good for you.
I can actually get real specific on that. There are a whole group of special needs kids that at Blizzard we've become aware of that have just dramatically improved their lives by playing World of Warcraft, because there's two things going on. One, it's a control system that whatever their challenges are, they can find a way to control the game. And then two, once they're in the game, they're equal with everyone else.
Yeah.
No one else in the game has any idea, and so a very shy person who's facing all these challenges suddenly finds themselves a guild leader or something like that. And a lot of people have come up to us in either at video games live shows or at our BlizzCons and just said, to the point of moms and dads throwing their arms around me and hugging me, and on behalf of the whole company, and just saying, "Thank you. My child has developed better motor skills, more confidence. They're not as shy in public. They're no longer fixated on whatever their challenge is, to the extent that they were, because video games. I mean, who knew? But this is wonderful.
And it just happened, just like snowball effect. That's why it's really interesting.
Yeah.
It just happened, took place.
So we celebrate all that and more Friday night.
We're looking forward. Looking forward. It's going to be awesome.
Rock on.
Cool. You want the mic? Okay. We'll end it with some meats. Where it began.
Where it all began. I mean, what can I say? It's a long ride. We're almost there. I'm tired of talking about it though for these past 90 days. The buzz, like I mentioned, has been great around it. I mean, the idea of hosting the first ever video game concert, that's the #1 video game concert in the world here. And having the experience of being with these fine gentlemen and learning about the industry is another thing as well, where Dubai and the rest of the Middle East can learn so much from. There is a cultural aspect over here where many people tend to think that video games are just for kids within this nation, specifically with the idea that FIFA rules all and basically everything. But if there's one thing we've learned is that movement is changing, and I believe that we are taking the first step towards it. Coming this Friday, you're going to experience something which, as fortunate as unfortunate as it is, that I'm the only one and Tommy's the only one who's seen the show, along with these gentlemen. And when you actually get to see it, there's no word better to describe it as magic. Not towards even the regular hardcore gamer, or even the casual gamer, or even the person who just listens to symphony music. It's all together, where everybody comes together and gets an experience it's like never before. And what you will experience on December 14th is you're going to see cosplay competition, people dressed up as the gaming characters. There's a Guitar Hero competition where people get to try out the Guitar Hero game and come on stage and play with Tommy and everybody in the symphony orchestra. You've got the Xbox stands, PlayStation stands, Pluto stands, Red Entertainment. We thank also Bentley Motors for providing us with some amazing cars, along with McLaren's as well. I mean, it's just amazing how people are supporting us and pushing this industry forward. And we thank them for that. And along that, like I said, doors open at 6:30. What people are asking, what are you going to do from 1 to 6:30? I mean, sure, you got plenty of stands, but is there enough stuff going on there? I'm like, maybe there's not, but I know there's enough gamers out there who want to all meet everybody, who actually want to come to a venue, a place where they're like, hey, I want to bring my 3DS or PSP or my mobile device and find some gamer tags or get a PSN network name and share it and meet new people here. And the only one, and I'm sure even as media, as you guys, the one aspect that we're all looking at here is that we want a change in the industry, specifically in the Middle East. We want it to grow. We want it to get bigger. And this is the way we start. And if anything, I thank you all for your support throughout the way. And we look forward to the show, and I guarantee you will not be disappointed.
It's in your hands now.
And expect to have a tear in your eye.
I was about to say, I expect
and a quiver up your back, And when that happens, you're resonating on a lot of levels.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It still happens with me, of course.
Absolutely.
Fully agree.
Rockin'.
Thank you very much.